Same thing.
Mobsters, gangsters.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever they
Another
wanted to kill you,
term.
they sent you a
Well,
black.
Black hand.
Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah?
Now, Ravenna was known as Little Chicago back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
And back in the Prohibition years, pretty hostile around here.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit.
There were gangs.
It was scary.
Let it
Right.
go.
And it, from what I understand, it was very scary. And there was a lot
What
of
were
murders
your
that
ages
happened.
at that time? I mean,
Oh, I was little.
Little,
Yeah, we
okay.
were young. I could have been 6 years old, I think, 6 or 7
Mm-hmm.
at that time.
They were shooting people like crazy.
What was the role of the Policina family in this?
Well, they were one gang.
Bootleggers.
The Gulo
Yeah.
family was the other. Joe Gulo, was that his name?
I don't know them.
He
Adino?
was, he was on.
Dina was from Akron,
It
though.
was all bootlegging.
There were 2 Dino brothers here.
Pete and Joe.
Joe and, yeah, the other one, I don't
Yeah.
remember what his name. He was shot in his backyard. The
Yeah.
one that lived by the railroad.
Yeah.
And the house on the corner of Gill and Highland Avenue, they put a bomb in there, and that went, and the birdhouse landed all the way up by our house on Highland Avenue.
This
Rocco
Highland Avenue
Policina.
down here was the hub, and South Sycamore Street
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the other.
was the other hub. Now, all of the Italians that lived down on Ohio Avenue, there was none of this.
Well, from what I understand, most of the Italians just kind of mind their own business, didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah.
be involved.
Oh, absolutely.
It was going on in their own backyard, but they really didn't want to
No.
get.
Uh-uh.
They knew about it, and there was no way to avoid it, but they just didn't want to get involved at all.
We didn't, as I say, we weren't allowed to walk
What
down
was
that
Ravenna?
street.
Was it like a hub for transporting the stuff, or
No.
selling it, or?
We don't
They
know.
used to make it.
There were people
Policini
here
had a big farm out here.
that made it, and the boys in the family would transport it to the city. They would hide it in their car, and then they would carry it to Cleveland or Akron or wherever. They were bootlegging, selling
You
it.
know when Policini got his farm? You don't even know and you live here.
All right, Josephine.
All right, let me tell
But
you.
anyway, he was the hub of the whole thing.
Yeah,
For one set,
Yeah.
one gang.
yeah.
Pete Gulo was the one on the other side until they killed Pete Gulo. Well, anyhow, Policini was held for murdering, and they got goods on him.
Yeah.
He murdered a man. And Loomis was instrumental in saving his life, because they were going to give him the chair. Now, I wasn't here at the time.
They were
but I
going to
got that-
deport him,
He
too.
was deported.
Yeah.
No, they
They
didn't.
didn't.
They
No.
probationed him.
They put him over here in this farm and said, you are never to come to Ravenna. He never came to Ravenna.
Oh, I thought they
His
deported
wife
him.
and his children, and you know his kids are the nicest kids that ever grew
Yeah.
breath. They're business people
Well,
in
that's
town.
my sister's boyfriend, Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his grandfather.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And he was a nice guy, and he never did anything wrong, because he knew he'd get it.
They used,
That's how he got that farm.
they used to come into the Red Parrot. After I got out of the Army, I tended bar at the Red Parrot in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come in there, and that bar was always full, and he'd go down the line and flip everybody sitting there for a drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He never drank it, but he paid for the drinks
Yeah.
he lost.
Well, he wanted people to like him. And he was a nice guy. He,
Yeah.
honest
So
to
what
God
other
was.
commotion went on in town during that time?
That's about all I
What?
know.
Apparently there wasn't a very big law influence in town.
Well, he bought and sold the law. They never questioned him.
Well, there were some, where was it, on Meridian Street, that the car went down the street and shot
Oh,
the
that
ones
was
that
on
were sitting-
Sycamore, wasn't it?
Sycamore Street.
Pete Gulo.
And they were sitting on a porch.
Yeah.
The car
Who
rode
were
by.
they? They got shot?
Yeah.
Who were they? That got
Bootleggers.
shot.
There was another gang out
Yeah.
in...
Oh.
They were all bootleggers. That's why
And you must
there was-
understand, this is all hearsay. We don't know from nothing, but it's just all hearsay. We may even say it wrong. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, what about Pat Mandolin's mother and
Oh,
father?
that's Mrs. Gulo. Remember, Mandolin married the Pete Gulo. They were shot on their
okay.
front porch.
Yeah, okay.
But Pat and, what was the other one, Joe? Said
Pete, Paul.
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 Pat and Paul.
I went to school with Pat
Yeah.
down Chestnut Street. They had Chestnut Street School. I went to school with Pat. And when they killed his father, mother, his brother, Paul swore he was going to get him. Didn't they get him
Yeah.
on a motorcycle
Yeah.
on the road?
They run him right off the road and killed him.
Then after that, Pat, I never did see him anymore.
Pat turned out that he inherited all his mother and stepfather's money. And he went to Miami View. They sent him, the court took care of his money. They sent him to Miami, down to Miami College, and he was there 2 years. And he decided he wasn't going to go to school anymore. Now, whether he got any of his money given to him or what happened there, I don't know. But my mother knew her real well, and knew the two boys. She didn't like Pete too well for a second.
Was anybody in the family approached to do any of this dirty work?
Not dirty work, but my father,
He was approached to store some stuff.
to store some booze, barrels of wine or booze or whatever it was, in our basement. Joe Adino's.
Well, wasn't it illegal to make wine in Prohibition Day?
Sure.
That's why all this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why all these problems.
I don't know about that because the Italians used to get together. They'd send in, they'd buy carloads of grapes, and there was a place down at Chestnut Street, and there was a place down here where they would they would buy the grapes. So that was a long, long time ago, and they made their wine.
Well, you were allowed to make so much wine, and it had to be
Well, what was it they were
certain
bootlegging?
alcohol.
It was
Whiskey.
alcohol.
Yeah,
So the
whiskey.
wine didn't have enough alcohol in it to be illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were bootlegging whiskey.
Yeah, they were bootlegging whiskey.
What other crimes were going on? It seems like the murders had to do with bootlegging.
Gangsters, yeah.
But that's all sort of tied in together.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, other than, as long as you didn't get shot on your front porch, you were safe.
Basically, yes. Yeah, once they settled this,
Like,
the
did people
Italians.
steal? Did they?
No,
Was there
not
other
many.
illegal stuff going on? Or
Joe,
This probably happened because they were invading somebody else's territory.
just like the drug wars that we
don't
have
you
in place
remember
now.
someone tried to steal the chickens?
They
in
did.
in
They
Dad's-
stole them.
Dad's backyard.
Big Gould.
Oh, was he the one?
He knew my mom and dad had chickens. He drove the truck around the back, and
Franklin.
Uncle Mike did. And they grabbed the chickens and took them. They must have given them some dope or something because we
Keep
never heard.
quiet.
Yeah. They stole our chickens.
What about hobbies and interests? Now, Jim, you mentioned earlier about fingers, but I don't know the Italian word for it. Can you describe,
Yeah.
Or they-
can you describe that some?
Well, they would play opposite one another, and they would throw out fingers. You'd throw out one, and I would throw out two. If I said tre, I won. You had to guess the amount of fingers that they.
They're going to be thrown down.
There's 3, 4.
And did they bet on this, or?
Well, they'd have
Oh, yeah.
the winners always had got a drink. They would have teams.
You get a bunch of them together,
Boy,
and
they get loud
they'd start
sometimes.
playing this. They'd be so loud it'd drive you nuts.
And they always kept one man dry. If there was 6 guys or 7 guys,
Yeah.
one guy didn't get any of the drinks. They just say him. No,
Why?
they
That's
just
the
picked
game.
out a person.
Just a bit.
Now you played bocce a lot.
Yeah, but
Down
before
at-
the bocce came the
The
flat
water.
rock
Oh,
in the driveway, Grandpa's driveway. They'd have flat rocks about that thick, and you'd toss them. Then you have a bunch of pennies up there on a little baleen, little ball, and you throw these flat rocks up there. Who gets closest to it gets the most. Then they went to the bocce. Then they could afford to buy them, and every one of them had them. Then they
So
built a
bocce was there, just people couldn't afford it, so they made their own
They
equipment.
couldn't
They made
afford to
their
buy
own
the set,
court.
right?
They made their own court behind Grandpa Bruno's house. They had their own bocce court.
yeah, I remember that.
They used to play it in the driveway.
Now, will somebody please go through bocce for me? I mean, like, what were the rules and what's the object of this game?
The same thing like I told you, they put the money on the baleen or on a rock. They did that with the bocce. They put the put the little bocce, or they'd throw it. And then they roll
Now,
these
what's the
balls
bocce and what's
to see
the...
who got
Pauline is a
closest.
little teeny
It's
lead ball.
It's
It's
the
a little
lead
ball.
ball.
Is that like what you're trying to
That's
get?
you're trying to get
size.
the closest
The
that
one
you
that
can.
gets
Yeah,
closest
it's
to
not
the
as big as this
Paulina.
ball
It's
here.
about the size of that little red ball,
Okay.
Yeah.
the Pauline.
Yeah. Whoever gets closest to it gets the point. So if you were close,
So
I'm
it's
up
sort of like
next.
horseshoes with balls?
Yeah.
Okay.
My job would be to knock the closest ball away so we could get in there.
They'd have the plain balls and the striped balls,
Yeah.
so you divide them into
Two teams and
So
you play
you
3
could
games.
knock somebody else out of the way
Oh,
with
yeah,
your
they
ball.
have they call them the bombardiers. Come in there and hit the ball.
Yeah, it's.
The average if someone else
Grass
on another
bowling.
team got his ball close to the Pauline, you'd have one of your specialists go in there and knock his ball out.
So how do you know when the turns are over? Is it like golf when you have so many?
You're done with the balls. You have
Yeah, you
no more
only
balls.
Oh, okay.
And
so
you
you
play
can't
3
reuse
games.
the balls.
Yeah, they
okay.
keep score.
Right, you'd have 3 games for each point, right?
I don't
You
know.
play
You got a
3
point
times.
after each hand, after each.
Yeah, but I don't know when they paid off. I forgot.
Oh, they set a score.
Yeah.
I forget what the winning score was, 15 or 16 points.
So how many people were on a team?
8.
Depends
It
on
had
how
to
many,
be
how many balls you had.
Most
Yeah.
time there was 3. You'd have one ball
Just sit
piece.
still. So if there's okay, so if you had 8 balls and 8 people could play and could I use my ball only once?
Yeah,
And so I had one turn and that was it. And
Yeah.
was there like a captain to say, okay, now you go, it's your turn?
well, this
Or
is
did
all
the team decide
prearranged.
together?
It's all arranged.
Or
You
was
go
there a
first, I
batting
go
order?
second, I go third, yeah.
Okay, batting order.
That
Okay, I have
worked-
to relate it to sports I know.
Yeah, but that worked like this. If you're on my team and you threw your ball down there and you got close, and then I would throw mine. If I didn't beat you, then my other partner would try to get you until we got through with the group that we had. If we had 4, all 4 of us would go before you had another turn because
Yeah.
we didn't beat you.
You had to beat the,
All 4 of you would go because you didn't beat me. Okay.
See,
But if you had gotten closer than me, then it'd be my turn.
then it would be your
team's
turn again.
Now, if you had 8 balls and 4 people, then each person got to shoot 2 balls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. What about any other?
Well,
A lot of drinking.
what you
And a lot
haven't
of
touched
talking.
on is the weddings, Joe.
Oh, that's right.
When they had a wedding, all these women, my mother, his mother, Donna Nina, all the women used to get together and cook the food for this wedding and make all the cookies
Oh
and the cakes.
Now,
Everything
A
was
wedding was a 2-day affair, wasn't it?
yeah. Oh yeah.
sometimes
Oh, yeah.
longer.
Now, was there a reason behind it, or just because Italians like to party?
Well, yeah, they like to party, but these women worked together, and I'm telling you, they cooked up food for these weddings like you cannot believe.
You didn't have any catering.
No,
Right.
no.
that's when the Donaldell came into effect.
It's 1 o'clock.
Yes,
You haven't had your dinner?
that's all right. I got stuff in there for Sam.
I was gonna say, I gotta cook lunch, dinner. I was gonna make Brazil.
Maybe a few more questions and we'll get on.
I know
out of
this is important to me. I hope it's okay if I do this. Somebody said that they know Paul Scarlino.
Oh, yeah.
here. We don't have a lot on Paul
Oh,
and that side of the family because
Well, now that's your grandfather.
Antiega. Anything you know about them?
Well, I remember as a child, your grandfather. Is that what he is?
He's my great grandfather.
Your great grandfather. Okay. He was a short man. He was a very quiet man. You never heard him say very much. He worked on the railroad. And he was one of the first ones to die, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Of
I
the
think
3
so.
brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
So was he killed instantly? I know he got hit by a train. You don't know?
Can you tell me that? I don't know.
I didn't, how would I know him at the,
How would you know him? He was your uncle.
who? Suminzion?
Suminzion, yes.
Yeah, but I wasn't on the railroad when he was
Oh, I
working
know
out
you
there.
weren't. Neither was I. I wasn't grown up either.
I don't even know what railroad he worked for.
Did you
What?
hear? Did you ever hear how he was killed?
No.
Because it had something to do. Him and Gasper were working. They think they were tamping ties. They say. And
That was,
Paul didn't hear the train.
Oh, he might have had a problem with his hearing.
I
What's his
can't tell
name
you
was
that.
Jeff?
I know he died
Gasper.
first.
Gasper, yeah.
He died first.
Yes, he was the first of the brother-in-laws to die.
Yeah.
And,
Now how soon Gasper died? How soon after Paul
Oh.
said that Gasper died?
Oh, it's several years.
Yeah.
Yes, I was grown up then. And he died, I don't know whether he died of pneumonia or what, but he died at home. And if I remember correctly, he was sick about a week or something like that. You know, this is many years ago when there wasn't much in
They said he
medicine.
needed a blood transfusion and he would have lived.
Really, I didn't know that either. You see, you'd have to talk to the family.
Yeah.
How about your grandma? Can't she tell you anything about her?
Grandma doesn't even know me.
Oh.
She doesn't know me. She doesn't know my mom. So I'm praying literally for a good day, and then I will
All
try
right, now
and
let's see.
hope.
Eva could tell you something about him.
Yeah.
Would be the older ones.
Well, my Uncle Monty was telling me a lot
Yeah.
about the incident, what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
What about
But I can see
Diego?
him today. He was just an awful nice man.
Yeah. What about Diego?
Oh, she was a
beautiful
beautiful person.
She was a beautiful, she had pure white hair, she wore it moving out up there. And her home was something to behold. In her home was flowers all over. Fake flowers, real flowers. She had all kinds of knickknacks. She could read. She could read Italian. And she would sit with her book or her paper. She got some sort of a paper. Maybe every week or every month or something like that. She would read that. She was informed because of her reading, but everybody thought she was a little,
Why?
because she knew more than they did.
She got the Il Progresso newspaper for years.
Sure, she knew more about the world than
So when you do this, you mean
they thought she was off her rocker.
because she
Yes,
wasn't
because she knew more than they did.
Well, she
Probably
was
was
a little more
outspoken.
intelligent. than
Yeah,
the
she
other
was
ones because
intelligent.
She could read, you know. And
She was
read.
an unusual woman.
I understand that after your grandmother died, she spent a lot of time over there
Playing
with
cards.
with your grandfather, playing cards and
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did. Yeah. Well, they were all like brothers and sisters, you know. They lived right next to each
Well,
other.
didn't Mom and Dad play cards with
Oh, yeah.
with them?
Oh, yeah. We were always up there. They were our
With
relatives.
Donna Nina and
We didn't have
Samantha.
any relatives. They were our relatives.
Your great grandmother and
Yeah.
grandfather.
So you said that Diego's
She always
unusual
smelled
why?
nice.
Why was
She always smelled nice. She took all kinds of pills. If anything she read in the paper, she would go buy
Yeah.
because she was going to stay healthy. She smiled all the time. Never heard her argue with anybody. This is what I remember as a
Oh,
child.
that's good. That's what I want.
And this is the truth. She's a beautiful woman. Didn't you have a picture of her? She's a real star.
Yeah, but the pictures I see, she looks mean.
yeah, every picture.
No.
You know.
No, she wasn't. She was anything but me.
What
She
about-
allowed her girls to do anything they wanted. And her boy died, I think,
Ignacio,
of a brain tumor or something.
Yeah,
and that's when he was like in his
I pray
teens.
for him every time I go to Dad's grave.
Oh, it's
Nunzi,
Lindsay, that's what they call him.
man, that
He
was
died
all.
young. He died young.
He wasn't very old. I
14
can
or
remember
15,
seeing
something
him
like
in his coffin. They had his red
No,
cut his
what
skull.
about-
We heard that he had his funeral at home.
Yeah, well, they did then.
Yeah, they
Everybody
used
got
to.
married from home.
What about Paul and
Yeah,
Diego
you
as
call him?
parents? Like, how did they relate to their children? To
They were
interaction.
murdered from where we were very envious of your mother, or your grandmother,
One more.
and Aunt Annie, your Aunt Anne.
How do you feel?
Because, see, she only had the two, because the boy died.
All right.
They were allowed to go anywhere they wanted to go.
Were they not as strict as, say,
Right.
Sanina
Right.
and your mother, Rosa?
Yeah, that's strict.
Nobody called?
Grandma,
Not as strict.
Grandma wasn't strict. Grandpa thought that he was the king of the walk, but he wasn't any more than the rest of the men. But if we wanted anything, my dad would be chasing me, maybe because I sold cigarettes or something, go right to Grandma's, I'd get under the bed, and the little, she gun
wasn't
her
very
soul. She wasn't very big. She'd put her hands on her hip, he'd turn around and go back.
Where you want.
But I got it when I got home anyhow.
But she fascinated me.
So can we assume that Paul and Diego were a little bit less strict
Yes.
than the other two sisters?
Did they, Paul and Dagan have a good relationship?
That I don't know. That I don't know. I was too young to even understand that. But this is how she impressed me, and he too. I can still see him walking. He always wore a cap. And he was walking
Did
down
you
the
spend a lot of time with your grandparents?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the time. I was their favorite, firstborn.
Okay.
And I used to go over to Scargolino's and Supao may rest in peace. He'd be milking the cow and I'd be standing there and he'd squirt that right into my mouth.
How old were you then?
They had their 2 cows in where the garage is now up on North on Ohio Avenue.
I forgot.
Did they have any
about
other animals up there? Just
What?
just cows and chickens. Did they have anything else?
No, I don't remember them having any chickens.
We
No,
had
but
chickens.
but
They did.
My mother had
um,
chickens.
I thought your mother had chickens.
No.
She
No.
wouldn't have chickens.
How could she have any chickens? She had too many of us to worry about.
We had fresh eggs.
They
and
had
chicken
we
coming
lived
over.
beyond Scargolino's, and we had here was our house and here was a big lot. And that was where Dad done most of his work, raising that garden and working on the railroad.
I heard they'd come home from a full day's work and they'd work in the garden. And
My dad did too. My mother did.
Oh yeah.
We have the water. The pepper plants, remember?
And they used to have to walk to work. All of them.
What
And
if-
then-
Just, what about Thomasina and Tony? Do you know anything about them?
Oh, sure. They were, oh gosh. He was marrying a guy from New York and they
was
were,
that? Do you know if that was an arranged marriage?
Chipone.
I don't think so.
Because he was from New Jersey, correct?
No.
No,
New
no,
York.
he was from Staten Island. Tony Chipone.
Was
Well,
he
how
from
come
Staten
he's
Island?
marrying this girl from Ravenna? Doesn't it seem unusual?
Now wait a minute. How did he come to Ravenna? He came to Ravenna somehow.
Because of
He and
Marchese.
Joe. He and Joe. Yes.
Because of Joe Marchese.
Joe Marchese. He came for Aunt Lil. I don't know, how did Joe Marchese get here?
Yeah.
Married Aunt Lil.
Okay.
I don't know whether it was because of Tommy or whether it was because
So
of
he
Lil.
moved down here?
Oh yeah.
And then they started dating or courting?
I was still in high school and he
I
was
don't know where they lived.
he was
though.
here.
I don't know where they lived.
Who?
I never
What
knew
were their
this.
personalities
No.
like?
The
Because Thomasina was about,
Marchese.
what, 16 when she got married?
oh, that's
Now,
not funny.
Tom said she was about 20.
Okay. So he was considerably older than she was.
Now,
Oh, no.
Diane told me last night that they're
Mhm.
close in age. In fact,
Yes,
he
they
might
are.
have even been a little bit younger.
Yes.
Is what Diane said.
Yes, that's right.
No, we've got dates on
We
them,
have dates,
right? So
yeah.
we'll just check that out.
I
But
don't
you
know
anything
how
about
they came
personality?
here. I don't know how they
Well,
came here.
if you're going to go to Staten Island to see Lil, you'll find out an awful lot from her.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because see, she married Casey, who was from there.
You can look up my family while you're there.
I think now I remember, it was when Aunt Lil got married, he was one of the
Usher.
ushers.
And maybe he met Thomasina then?
Exactly right. Now, his brother was here, but I don't know who he was going with. Joe.
I remember.
Can't remember.
He had a crush on Ann Scargolino, Joe Chipone did. But I don't know why it didn't
gel.
didn't gel.
You remember when they started this baked bread when they lived on Prospect Street? We used to go down there for fresh bread.
Yeah. Your
Your
grandmother.
grandmother.
She could.
Yeah.
Oh, she made the best sweet roll.
Oh. Then she got, I don't know, 'cause see, I moved away. When I was 17, I got married and moved to New Jersey. So I lost a lot of this. Like, for instance, Anne married a boy from,
Nichols.
yeah,
Benjamin.
Ben Nichols,
We used
nice
to play
guy.
poker together all the
Yeah,
time.
nice guy. And Tommy was married to Tony, and he had a nice job with the city. They seemed to be getting along, and
What
all
kind
of
of a job did he have?
all of a sudden she took off with the little one. Your mother, I think. What's your mother's name?
Thomasina.
Yeah, little Tommy. She was like here,
Yeah.
and went to Denver.
Now, what job did Tony have?
He worked for the city of Ravenna.
Doing
Yeah,
what?
City of Ravenna.
I don't remember what he did.
Road
He
work.
was
I
in the
believe.
street department.
Yeah, was he on the
Yeah.
street department? He worked winter and summer. He had a good job.
What was the difference in dispositions between Anne and Thomasina?
Oh,
Were they a lot alike or were they different?
no, Anne was altogether different. Anne was she was like her mother. Sweet, loved everybody.
like Diego?
Yes, yes, like her great-grandmother. Tommy I didn't know very well. She was always nice when we saw her, but I think she had a mind of her own. Tommy wanted to do, I think Tommy lived in a cloud. You know what I mean? She'd like to have been a movie star or something like that, loved to dance,
Yeah,
this sort of
and
thing.
she was.
Yeah, she was different.
Yeah, she was vain about her legs because
Yes.
she was bow-legged and she used to wear long dresses. And when she had her babies, she made sure that they had to have her legs all covered up so nobody would see them.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
She was.
Yeah.
Oh, fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She could sing,
Yeah.
beautiful voice.
But she had to have a mop in her hand, from what we understand. she had to be comfortable before she could sing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We
She
had
had
a lot
the
of-
most beautiful complexion of them. Well, you
She
should.
still does.
Oh, her complexion.
Beautiful skin,
She
yeah.
said to me, I'll tell you what, you know, I went out to Denver and I saw her. I didn't see Anne, or did we see Anne, when we went to Denver? Remember the first year we went to the convention?
In 74.
Yeah, we went to Golden to see her, because my sister had been to visit her, and her husband, your grandma. And so then we went out to see them. And Anne had, or was it Tommy that had the restaurant?
Tommy.
Tommy?
Wasn't it across from the post office?
And
You mean here or in Golden?
Golden?
Yeah, they
Well,
got
she had one here, though, didn't she?
It was
A
business.
restaurant?
Yeah.
She had a restaurant across from the
And
post
then
office.
they-
Yeah,
in the
in
Western
that
Reserve.
building.
In the Western Reserve
Yeah,
Hotel.
last
I
one.
saw her
She
once.
did?
She
Yeah.
came down there.
Tea shop.
Oh, I
Who had a
remember
tea
that.
shop?
What's her name?
Thomasina.
Yeah, right there
Oh,
in
right
the
at
hotel
The
building.
hotel, yeah.
That's funny. How come I don't remember?
Yeah, well, that was
Yeah.
when Jack graduated, you know, Jack and Diane and Mike and who was the other one?
What?
They all graduated at the same time. You know, we had
Charlie.
Charlie, wasn't it?
Charlie, yeah, we had a party for all of the boys at graduation, and your mother did the cooking. She cooked at the hotel. That's when Mrs. Naylor had.
You mean my grandmother?
Your grandma.
My mother, my mother does. Sorry, Mom, you don't know the way around the kitchen.
We were supposed to go to Golden, Colorado and stay with Ben and Ann too. But then she died.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
We
came
had our-
home once though.
Yeah.
After she had her breast removed, it seemed to me. And then, I'm not sure. I saw her somewhere along the line here.
What, Tony, was he funny? Was he serious?
He was a nice guy.
Strict?
He was kind of a serious guy.
Yeah.
He listened to everybody. If anybody talked to him, he would talk back. But he never gave of himself. Although the people that he worked for, you know, the people downtown at the courthouse, and they thought the world known.
Yeah.
And, you know, Then he remarried, and I think he had a baby.
Yeah.
And then he died, and did she die? I don't know.
I don't think so.
He
I
died.
think
He
she's still
died.
alive.
Yeah. And Pete died. That was
Tony, yeah, Tony just died just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
When did his son die?
Who, Nick?
Nick?
The boy that played in the band for
Oh.
service.
I heard he
Yeah,
was
I
about
remember
40.
Nick.
Yeah, he was young. He
Yeah.
died young.
I forget. I remember when they said that something was wrong with him. He had a malady or something. I don't know what it was.
He died very young.
Yeah, that was Tommy's boy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's when everything kind of broke apart for Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. See, I wasn't around here when that happened. This is stuff I've heard. And,
Well, I think we're done. We're gonna get on out of
Have you
here.
talked
yeah,
to
I'm
Diane?
glad. Go.
So,
Can't, Joe.
You going someplace else today?